morning everyone, I am Prachi Baviskar and the topic for our group presentation is ventilators, an important equipment in medical field. It has become of utmost importance in today's world where the whole world is dealing with the global pandemic of coronavirus. According to the WHO, some 80% of people with COVID-19, the disease caused by coronavirus, recover without needing hospital treatment. But 1 person in 6 becomes seriously ill. In these severe cases, the virus causes damage to the lungs, causing the body's oxygen levels to drop and making it harder to breathe. To alleviate this, a ventilator is used to push air with increased levels of oxygen into the lungs. So, before moving further to know more about this machine called ventilator, let us first understand what is the process of ventilation and how does it take place. Ventilation is the process of moving air into and out of the lungs to facilitate gas exchange with the internal environment, mostly by bringing in oxygen and flushing out of carbon dioxide. Next slide. All aerobic creatures need oxygen for cellular respiration, which uses the oxygen to break down foods for energy and produces carbon dioxide as a waste product. Breathing or external respiration brings air into the lungs where gas exchange takes place in the alveoli through diffusion. The body's circulatory system transports these gases to and from the cells where cellular respiration takes place. And we all know what is the process of cellular respiration. We have learned it in our class. So, pulmonary ventilation is commonly referred to as breathing. It is the process of air flowing into the lungs during inspiration and out of the lungs during expiration. Air flows because of pressure difference between the atmosphere and the gases inside the lungs. Air, like other gases, flows from a region with higher pressure to a region with lower pressure. Muscular breathing movements and recoil of elastic tissues create the changes in pressure that result in ventilation. So, pulmonary ventilation involves 3 different types of pressures. The atmospheric pressure, which is the pressure of air outside the body. Second is the intra-alveolar or intrapulmonary pressure, which is the pressure inside the alveoli of the lungs. And the third one is the intrapleural pressure, which is the pressure within the pleural cavity. These 3 pressures are responsible for pulmonary ventilation. So as we can see here in the diagram, there are 2 figures. One is for the inspiration, that is also known as inhalation, and the second is the expiration, which is also known as exhalation. So inspiration is the process of taking air into the lungs. It is the active phase of ventilation because it is the result of muscle contraction. During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts and the thoracic cavity increases in volume. This decreases the intra-alveolar pressure so that air flows into the lungs. So, inspiration draws air into the lungs. The second one is the expiration process. It is the process of letting air out of the lungs during the breathing cycle. During expiration, the relaxation of the diaphragm and elastic recoil of tissue decreases the thoracic volume and increases the intra-alveolar pressure. Expiration pushes air out of the lungs. So this is all about ventilation. This is how the natural ventilation process takes place. So next slide. This is the common ventilator. A ventilator is a machine designed to provide mechanical ventilation by moving breathable air into and out of the lungs to deliver breaths to a patient who is physically unable to breathe or breathing insufficiently. So how this is done? The patient is connected to the ventilator with a hollow tube that goes in their mouth and down into their main airway, which is called the trachea. They remain on the ventilator until they improve enough to breathe on their own. A ventilator blows air into the airway through a breathing tube. One end of the tube is inserted into patient's windpipe and the other end is attached to the ventilator. The breathing tube serves as an airway by letting air and oxygen from the ventilator flow into the lungs. Depending on the patient's medical condition, they may be able to use a respiratory mask instead of the breathing tubes. So, it is important to note that mechanical ventilation does not heal the patient, rather, it allows the patient a chance to be stable while the medications and treatments help them to recover. So, now I would like to hand over the presentation to Deepak, who will be explaining the need of ventilator to you. Thank you.
Hello, I am Deepak. Now I am going to tell about need of ventilator in anesthesia as a component of anesthesia machine. General anesthesia works by paralyzing the muscles of body temporarily. This includes the muscles that allow us to inhale and exhale without ventilator. Breathing during general anesthesia would not be possible. Most patients are on the ventilator while the surgery is taking place. Then a drug is given to stop the anesthesia. Once the anesthesia stops, the patient is able to breathe on their own and they are removed from the ventilator. Second one is home care in hypoventilated patients. Hypoventilation, also known as respiratory depression, occurs when ventilation is inadequate to perform needed gas exchange. By definition, it causes an increased concentration of carbon dioxide, hypercapnia, and respiratory acidosis. Because failure may result in death, mechanical ventilation systems are classified as life critical systems and precautions must be taken to ensure that they are highly reliable, including their power supply. Mechanical ventilators are therefore carefully designed so that no single point of failure can endanger the patient. They may have manual backup mechanism to enable hand-driven respiration in the absence of power, such as the mechanical ventilator integrated into an anesthetic machine. They may also have safety valves which open to atmosphere in the absence of power to act as an anti-suffocation valve for spontaneous breathing of patient. Some systems are also equipped with compressed gas tanks, air compressors, or backup batteries to provide ventilation in case of power failure or defective gas supplies, and methods to operate or call for help if their mechanism or software fails. Next slide please. Ventilators may also be equipped with monitoring and alarm systems for patients related parameters, for example pressure, volume and flow, and ventilator functions, example air leakage, power failure, mechanical failure, backup batteries, oxygen tanks and remote control. The pneumatic system is nowadays often replaced by a computer controlled turbopump. Modern ventilators are electronically controlled by a small embedded systems to allow exact adaptation of pressure and flow characteristics to an individual patient's needs. Fine-tuned ventilator settings also serve to make ventilation more tolerable and comfortable for patients. In Canada, the United States, respiratory therapists are responsible for tuning these settings, while biomedical technologists are responsible for the maintenance. In the UK and Europe, the management and the patient's interaction with ventilator is done by critical care nurses. The patient circuit usually consists of set of 3 durables, 8 lightweight plastic tubes separated by function, example inhaled air, patient pressure, exhaled air. Determined by the type of ventilation needed, the patient end of the circuit may be either non-invasive or invasive. Non-invasive methods such as continuous positive airway pressure and non-invasive ventilation, which are adequate for patients who require ventilator only while sleeping and resting, mainly employ a nasal mask. Invasive methods require intubation, while for long-term ventilator dependence will normally be a tracheotomy cannula, as this is much more comfortable and practical for long-term care than in the larynx or nasal intubation. Now I would like to hand over Lalit for further presentation.
Now we are going to see the components of ventilator. A ventilator probably can be easily understood if it is pictured as a black box. It is plugged into an electrical outlet or high pressure gas source, and gas comes out the other side. The person who operates the ventilator sets certain knobs or dials on a control panel, that is user interface, to establish the pressure and pattern of gas flow delivered by the machine. Inside the black box, a control system interprets the operator's setting and produces and regulates the desired output. Now, the first component of ventilator is power source or input power. In these, there are three types: electrically powered, pneumatically powered, and combined powered ventilator. In electrically powered ventilator, they rely entirely on electricity, 230 volt 50 Hz AC, or on rechargeable batteries. Generator may be used as backup plan for such ventilator. Example: Life Care PLV 102 ventilator. In pneumatically powered ventilator depends entirely on compressed gas source for power. Those machines use 50 psi gas source and have built-in internal reducing valve so that the operating pressure is lower than the source pressure. Example: the Bird Mark 7 ventilator. In combined power ventilator, some ventilators use one or two 50 psi gas sources and an electrical power source. The gas source mixture of air and oxygen allow for a variable fractional inspired oxygen concentration and may also supply the power for ventilator function, mostly used in ICU. Second component of ventilator is pressure generator. There are two types in it: positive pressure and negative pressure. Positive pressure ventilation means that airway pressure is applied at the patient's airway through an endotracheal or tracheostomy tube. The positive nature of the pressure causes the gas to flow into the lungs until the ventilator breath is terminated. Negative pressure ventilation is mechanical ventilation in which negative pressure is generated on the outside of the chest and transmitted to the interior to expand the lungs and allow air to flow in. Third component is control system and circuits. To manipulate pressure, volume and flow, a ventilator must have a control circuit. In it, open and closed loop system to control ventilator function. Open loop systems are straightforward as feedback is taken in closed loop systems to control the output. Control panel, that is user interface. On it there are many displays which shows all characteristics of ongoing processes on it. In pneumatic control system, various valves are used to perform operation of ventilation. Fourth component is power transmission and conversion system. There are two types in it: the volume displacement pneumatic design, that is drive, and flow control valves, that is output control. The power transmission and conversion system consist of the drive and output control mechanism. The drive mechanism generates the actual force needed to deliver gas under pressure. The output control consists of one or more valves that regulates gas flow to the patient. Fifth component is output, in the form of pressure, volume and flow waveforms. Output is the most important thing in ventilator, which is based on all previous components. Patient should receive the proper volume and pressured air in order to breathe easily. It is delivered by the tube placed inside the mouth of patient. That is all about components. Thank you. Now I would like to hand over to Janvi.
So, talking about the forms, two forms of mechanical ventilation are positive pressure ventilation, that is air pushed into lungs through airways, and negative pressure ventilation, that is air sucked into lungs by stimulating movement of chest. Positive pressure ventilation. In its simplest form, a modern positive pressure ventilator consists of a compressible air reservoir, air and oxygen supplies, a set of valves and tubes, and a disposable or reusable patient circuit. The air reservoir is pneumatically compressed several times a minute to deliver room air, or in most cases, an air-oxygen mixture to the patient. If a turbine is used, the turbine pushes air through the ventilator with the flow valve adjusting pressure to meet patient-specific parameters. When overpressure is released, the patient will exhale passively due to the lung's elasticity. The exhaled air being released usually through a one-way valve without the patient circuit called the patient manifold. Next slide, Sakshini. Negative pressure ventilation. Here, the air is withdrawn mechanically to produce a vacuum inside the tank, thus creating negative pressure, which in turn leads to expansion of chest. It leads to decrease in intrapulmonary pressure and increases flow of ambient air into the lungs. As the vacuum is released, the pressure inside the tank equalizes the ambient air pressure. The elastic coil of the chest and the lungs thus leads to passive exhalation. Next slide. Setting up the ventilator. In order to initiate mechanical ventilation, certain measures should be taken. Proper placement of the endotracheal tube must be verified. This may be done by end-tidal capnography or combination of clinical and radiological findings. Proper cardiovascular support should be ensured with fluids or vasopressors as indicated in a case-by-case basis. Ensure that proper sedation and analgesia are available. The plastic tube in the patient's throat is painful and uncomfortable, and if the patient is restless or fighting the tube or the vent, it will make it much more difficult to control the different ventilation and oxygen parameters. So I would now ask Sakshini to continue.
So here we see the types of ventilator. First is the transport ventilator, for use in ambulances, helicopters and aeroplanes. These are small and rugged and can be powered pneumatically via AC or DC sources. Next slide. Neonatal ventilators. These are specialized subsets of ICU ventilators designed to deliver the smaller, more precise volumes and pressures required to ventilate such patients. Next slide. Intensive care ventilation. These are larger and run on AC power. It provides greater control of a wide variety of parameters. Next slide. High frequency ventilators. Frequency is 60 per minute or 3000 per minute. Two types. Jets and oscillators. Jets, it uses natural elastic recoil of lungs where expiration occurs passively. It consists of applying high pressure jet to the airways. Oscillators, it uses reciprocating piston which aid expiration on its return stroke. Next slide. Differential ventilator. When a person has bilateral lung pathology, then this type of ventilation is used. In this, two synchronized ventilators are used simultaneously. It prevents ventilation to perfusion mismatch. Indications. The indications when ventilator can be used are acute lung injury, acute severe asthma requiring intubation, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, apnea with respiratory arrest, hypoxemia, acute respiratory acidosis, respiratory distress addressing increased work of breathing, hypotension including sepsis, shock, CHF, neurological conditions. Thus, this was our presentation. Thank you.